Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? I am Mike, and I am here with Randy. Randy, I gotta tell you, it's nice to see you. We haven't recorded in a few weeks, and I am also just so over Christmas. Let's talk about anything other than Christmas. How was your Christmas?
I hope you had a good holiday, Mike. Yeah, no, it is funny. I was thinking about that. We're taping this the day after Christmas to go behind the curtain or whatever, and it's.
This
I
is our
thought
big
about
Boxing Day special. Get ready.
I did think about how I've said many a time that I get very into the holiday season, the decorations, the putting stuff around the house, doing all those sort of things. I really like Christmas and Christmas Eve and just the whole act of the time of the season, and listening to music and everything else. And then now it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now the music just kind of goes away, and then we lengthen out the lights a little bit out in front. Like,
Are you having a crisis? I expected you to be like, I am also glad it's over. No, you sound like you're having separation anxiety.
No, well, I think it's more all the effort that we put into it, and we're like, was this really worth just putting up for 2 weeks? So some of it, but
So
I guess
did
it's
you not decorate the day after or the weekend after Thanksgiving? You wait later into the season to make that happen?
We did for the most part. It's just sometimes it's based on life getting in the way. The plan is always we went and got a tree like the day after Thanksgiving, but didn't decorate it till a week and a half later or whatever. So, I think it was a very nice holiday season. So, but I'm just like, oh man,
you just had a tree. Like just a normal tree in your house for a week and a half.
That's about right. Yeah.
I love that. That's very
no, you know what? I take that back.
Of you.
We put the lights on. I take that back.
Okay.
We did the lights the first night, and then we didn't do the ornaments for like a week and a half. So.
Okay. I just had this idea of you just sitting with like nice forest green fur, just
there
there. And Jack's like, "Dad, can we put the ornaments on?" And you just look at him.
No.
Like, no. This is nature's splendor, son. You're not going to ruin it. This is all I have. This is my time away.
This is the thing we cut down and took away from nature. So
that's just that old Jim Gaffigan bit, right?
Right.
How backwards Christmas is. All right, take all these lights, put them outside. All right, cut down that tree, bring them in here. It works out really well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you had a nice holiday. But listen, that shit's over now. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. It's time to move on. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to move on. We're starting fresh. We're starting fresh for the year. This is year 2 for us,
Mm-hmm.
So we've done this show for 1 full year. And back when we started this one little bit, I want to say in October, I had mentioned for the AI theme of the week, I had made like 12. We wound up doing some special ones and a few. And it's not to say it couldn't come back, but it is time to put it to rest. I thought about keeping it going, and then I started looking at options like this is too much. The bit was fun. It's run its course. I have, however, made one final special theme for us to pay our respects to.
All right.
So here we are. The final, for now. I'm sure they'll come back. AI theme of the week.
This is the final song about 2 friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests and if they are actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike, one is named Randy. Are these guys friends?
Yeah.
This bit got harder and harder to do when we said it would stop at the start of the year.
Billy Joe named the Billy Joe like big eyes and like. Oh.
Actually, I think I meant to stop it after the wall. I forgot to edit it. It's going to cut out right now. Oh, yeah, I actually still kind of had an ending. The secret thing is I never really altered the songs, but they sometimes just would drone on for fucking ever. Like sometimes you would get a song that was like a perfect 40 seconds, but they would give me 2 minutes of it. And it would be, sometimes it would loop the verse again. Sometimes
like
it
the
would
holiday one.
Oh my God.
And
yeah.
you, baby.
That was money. That was the best. We peaked really with the final one. And I'm pretty excited about it. Not that final, like the final regular. But RIP until we find a reason to bring it back.
We'll still always appreciate the pop punk nod. So
that's good. And wasn't that our first one? So we peaked high.
I think so.
Immediately. It was literally the first one we ever played. The bit never got any better for you.
Unfortunately, no. There were many entertaining points.
My favorite, and I think this just comes down to who we are. My favorite was the Lounge Singer one. The one that sounded like Dean Martin. I fucking loved that one.
I mean, it was a different back and forth thing, and I had to do a couple things to make it work. But I thought the Halloween one was really funny too.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, I made you play along. I as I recall, I didn't give you a script, but I was just like, just riff. Whatever you do, don't go, what? What is this? Just fucking play along, Randy. I was very adamant about that.
I like scary movies and end up strung up in my front yard. So
yeah, as you do. But with that, unless you have anything else you'd like to say about this wonderful season or this wonderful year that just ended, you want to move on to a little what we watched?
Sure.
All right. So, what'd you watch? It's been a minute since we recorded. So we in theory should have weeks of things. Don't give me this family work obligation bullshit. You should have weeks of things.
I have a few things stacked up. So one thing is that finally, after you berating me about it for months, maybe, or I finally got in and watched The Penguin on HBO.
Oh, nice. And that's funny because I never finished it. I need to go back and finish it.
So I'm ahead of you now. No, but and it is really good. Just The Sopranos in DC. Right. That's essentially what it is. And then having the components of it that still speak to the fact you're in a comic book universe is interesting. So like it's as if, but make it real enough that it could seem like it was something, but then you're still reminded that Gotham is a separate place in a different type of made up environment kind of thing. So just it enough to suspend the disbelief some, but then to be like, okay, yeah, I understand. This is a bit much. But that's kind of the point. I mean, obviously, what else is there to say about Colin Farrell? He's unrecognizable and incredible. He's so good in it. And I'm blanking on her name, the mom from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, Christian Melody.
Yeah, is really good.
No, she's stellar.
I'm
about halfway through. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, as the kind of psychotic Falcone heiress, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm looking up. I'm trying to remember. Did you do any research on the makeup? I could have sworn that it was partly Colin Farrell's decision to be like, I'm putting on the fucking makeup, because someone, maybe a studio exec, because they like to ruin things, was like, we have Colin Farrell, don't put him on that fucking makeup. And then, oh no, never mind. It was the director, Matt Reeves.
Oh.
who was that motherfucker. But apparently they went ahead and designed the prosthetics anyway. And the makeup artist went and showed it to him. And he was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Which leads me to what I always say, always ask forgiveness and not permission. So,
yeah, exactly.
But anyway, you're talking more
good.
about
it doesn't take away from it. Like, it's the idea of the Penguin is that he is this, deformed, not movie star good looks guy, right? So it would take away a little bit from it to have this handsome actor to play.
I think it's fascinating because it could have gone. Now, obviously, it went to everyone loves it. It's going well. My goodness, it could have gone one of two ways. Instead, it went a third. It could have been Colin Farrell is too handsome and he's a movie star, and we only see Colin Farrell and we can't lose ourselves in it. It could have also gone, we know it's Colin Farrell and this makeup is fucking ridiculous and we can't get past this makeup performance. This is all we can see is the makeup. Instead, they managed to work together to give us an amazing performance and an amazing show. And it's risky. And the fact that they pulled that off, astounding.
Yeah. It's, I will say, so you said you're not all the way through. How many episodes are you in?
I'm about halfway through. I got to look it up. I can't remember exactly.
I think there's 10 episodes. So
I would say I'm about 4 or 5, yeah. But
okay.
I'm not entirely spoiler adverse. If anyone is, we're talking about the Penguin, feel free to hit some points.
I wasn't going to hit it specifically. I'd just say, just be prepared. So
okay.
There's some shit that's going to go down. So
gas.
It's great. But it is, it has been a nice, beginning, middle, end, kind of not end, but it is very well set up for starting something anew in the next season. So to take on a new plot point, continuations of some things, but it won't feel tired and carried over. They're not stretching out storylines from this first season, which is great. I'd say enjoy having that somewhat finality to it where you can carry over things. But I think there's nothing more disappointing for me sometimes when a season finale doesn't answer a lot of stuff and it's really just a trick to get you to tune into the next season. I appreciate that there are more threads that are being carried, or they're setting something up that's going to be continued, as opposed to just saying, we're going to stop this here to make sure that you tune into the next season.
I like that as well. And especially with the nature of streaming services, I've been hurt too many times over the years to get invested with something that I know maybe isn't coming back or ends on a cliffhanger. And I'm just like, oh, fucking hell. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Santa Clarita Diet. You broke my heart. Really, it was Netflix's fault, but you motherfuckers.
I'm with you. So, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I kind of blew through it. I watched all of it in like a week. And
that's fantastic.
Really, really enjoyed it. Some of the other stuff, we've joked at times because you get Sling TV, right? Isn't that yours?
I do. Yeah.
Yep. And so when we bought a new TV, we got a Samsung, and Samsung TV Plus is similar to Sling TV in that it has the certain channels dedicated to certain kinds of programming.
Okay.
And you've talked about Supermarket Sweep. There's a Supermarket Sweep on Samsung TV Plus also.
I wonder if it's the same one that's streaming. We should try to link up sometime and see if we're watching the same one.
That'd be crazy. But the other thing that they do because they break it down usually by genre. So there's kind of a horror thing, and there'll be 5 or 6 movie type things. There's news, and within the comedy, they'll do long runs of older sitcoms. And one of the ones, they have a Family Ties channel, and I have been diving deep. I don't know if it's just that's a very comfortable show or just easy to watch. And you and I sort of talked about it a little bit offline, but just how Michael J. Fox just jumps off the screen on that show. Like it's just amazing how, and no one is acting poorly, I will say that, but he is just so much better than everyone. Like it's very obvious why he won all the Emmys on that show. And it's a nice show, kind of just easy, family friendly. Yeah, there's cheesy jokes in it, and there's references to early 1980s republicanism that don't make sense. You're not, oh, that's a Reagan joke or a Nixon joke. Okay, great, because Alex's conservative views or whatever. But
it is that show was considered, I don't know if I'm using the word properly here, but it was considered progressive at the time because it was having the balls to take a modern Reagan Republican and stick them up against the 60s,
the hippie parents,
the hippie parents, which, by the way, the hippie parents, for as great as they were in the 80s, but the hippie parents have then eventually gone right by the late 90s. I feel like that was the track for those people.
I don't think Steven ever would have, just because, I mean, if you're running a public TV station, I don't know how
you're right. He's too. You're right.
Pretty much. That's very granola. Very.
Respect to Michael Gross, Stephen. What the hell's Keaton? Stephen Keaton. Yep. Yeah. I was about to say Steven Weber. That's no. No.
And Elise is an architect. I don't know. Maybe. So.
No, you're right. They're too artistic. They're too creative.
Mallory, on the other hand, oh yeah, I could see that. So.
Yeah. Mallory was at January 6th. You can. That's right.
Which another thing that surprised me in watching, I mean, again, it would just be one of those things you sit down and the commercial breaks are shortened just because they don't put a lot of things. So you're only gone for a minute and a half in between when they go to the commercial breaks. So the shows themselves are like 20 minutes, 22 minutes. And so it's easy to rip through 3-4 just by sitting there and hanging out. And Justine Bateman's performances were actually better than I had anticipated. I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, wow, she could act a little bit.
I am trying to look up, because all I remember her from ever is, I'm bringing up her IMDb right now, is I remember her from this show, and I remember her guest starring on Arrested Development with her brother, and I don't remember anything else about her career that she did as an actress.
So,
do you have any gut reactions of well, obviously she was in this? Because I do not have one, unless you do.
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Family Ties. Nothing. I'm looking right now. I'm just looking for something I remember. She did 4 episodes of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. My goodness. Oh, I do remember this because it only lasted a season and a half and got retooled halfway through. She was the main woman on Men Behaving Badly, the Rob Schneider sitcom in the mid-90s. which
Okay.
I remember got a huge marketing push and then just did not perform. I remember even when I was like 13 or 14, it was one of those British series that came over to be an American series, and it was the fucking Rob Schneider show because it was the mid-90s and he wasn't problematic yet. So, yeah. Eldard and Bateman left after the first season. Rumors that they clashed with Schneider and the show's producer persisted.
Oh, shocker.
They were replaced by Ken Marino and Jenica, blah, 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 I don't know who that is, and somebody else who I don't know was promoted to series regular. But man, that's
that's
by the
wild.
way, 1996 reception. Reviewers found the show's content to be too risque, pushing its brand of gross-out humor beyond all but the racist cable shows of the day. So, there you go. That's
interesting.
My goodness.
So that was a fun one. And then actually, I got caught up the last couple days. It was like, I don't know if it was, must have been after everybody went to bed or something like that. But I turned on, and do you remember the show? I think it was on ABC, Grounded for Life, with Donald Logue. It was a sitcom.
Yes, I didn't watch it though. I vaguely remember it.
It is a little throwaway, but it is very offbeat funny. There are some moments that I find myself surprised that I'm kind of laughing at, just because it's not that it throws convention out, but it's not afraid to kind of the way that My Name is Earl would do it, or Raising Hope, those kind of things where it's not afraid of looking cool. Like it's just
it's not afraid of not looking cool or afraid of looking cool. Because you said it's afraid of
not afraid. It's not afraid to look cool. How about that? I got to phrase it correctly.
So it's okay with looking cool. Everybody wants to look.
It's not afraid. It's afraid of looking cool. No, it's not afraid of looking cool.
It's not afraid to not look cool.
Stop it.
I'm genuinely confused. Is it looking cool?
It
or
is okay.
Not looking
so
cool?
The premise of the show, Donald Logue and his
because everyone wants to look
wife,
cool. That doesn't make sense.
Yes, you're right. No, let me explain the premise, and then I'll explain what I mean. So, Donald Logue and his wife, they had kids like right out of high school or something like that, and so they have 3 kids, and they live. I think they live in Staten Island or in Queens, and they're just trying to raise, trying to make ends meet. That kind of sitcom trope, but that the dad also lives with them. They live essentially in their parents' house, but the dad lives there too, and they're kind of deadbeat. His deadbeat brother is always hanging around too. He's very funny, and he's in Superbad, the guy that is the boyfriend of the girl that dances with Jonah Hill.
Oh gosh,
he's in The Departed too. Yeah, that guy, and that guy is very funny. He's really, really amusing and neat. So anyway, I had
Kevin Corrigan. No, I'm thinking of somebody else.
No, maybe
Kevin Corrigan isn't Superbad. The guy in the yellow shirt.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's great.
Good pull.
Fantastic on Community. 2 episodes of Community. Loved him in that show. So
he is very much kind of the weirdo uncle, but kind of sarcastic, a little bit out there. It's lots of fun. I used to watch it when it was in syndication probably 10 years ago, because it would just be on in the afternoon and I would throw on a couple episodes. And so I kind of got into it then. And so watched through 4 or 5 different episodes the last couple of days. It's a very entertaining. If no one's ever seen it, it's not groundbreaking. It's not the greatest show ever, but it is very fun and entertaining to kind of sit there. You can turn your brain off a little bit. And there are legitimate laugh out loud moments from the positions they put themselves in, which I'm like, all right, that's good.
Nice.
They plot people well against each other.
Very good. All I could think of as soon as you said Donald Logue, whenever somebody brings up an actor, I'm sure you do the same. You think of what's the very first thing you think of when you think of that actor. And I don't know how he feels about this, but I immediately go to the first Blade in 1998, where he's the vampire who gets his face like completely disfigured by Blade and then comes back later. Fantastic.
Yeah. I guess he was on a show on FX that was very well reviewed, but I don't know how many people watched it. Was it Terriers? I think that was the name of it.
I'm looking up. It only got 1 season. It was on FX, Terriers. And I don't know anyone else in the cast. Wait, I know. Nope, that's not who I thought it was. Did you watch it? Did you know the show?
I didn't. I just had remembered always seeing promos for it and then reading kind of in certain pop culture sites, and it was one of those that it was very well liked, but nobody watched it. One of those
Wow,
deals.
yeah, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I barely even remember this. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. FX had a run of a bunch of those. It was like the Jim Jeffries show. Was that called Bent? I think there was a bunch of those shows that all came out, and they all got like a season, and they kind of towed the line between being a comedy and a drama.
I kind of remember that because wasn't that also the show with Louis Anderson and what's his nuts from the Hangover?
Baskets. Yeah. Zach
Wasn't that an
Galifianakis.
FX show? Which, admittedly, they were also the network that took a risk on Always Sunny. I don't think people talk about it. When you look at it, and we talk about it now, they kind of have a track record of giving shit a shot, don't they?
Yep. Well, when it pays off for sure.
Yeah. And then I'm going to hit a little transition, unless you have an extra thing you want to mention.
All right.
Because I know there was one thing that you watched that I finally caught up on and watched, and that was I am now fully caught up on What We Do in the Shadows through the series.
Oh, nice.
Do you have anything you want to say other than before What We Do in the Shadows? Because I knew we would get there. I just wanted to let you know I watched it.
No, that's fine. We can certainly dive into that.
So you start, because you I want to say real time watched that season as it came out, right? I waited till it was over and caught up.
Yeah, I think I caught up initially. So I was, the first 4 or 5 episodes and then started watching it pretty much every week. I was delighted by all of it. It is the most consistently funny show I think that's on TV. It's always hilarious. They find such good ways to showcase each of the characters, separate what they are. So the complete I want to say profane, maybe vulgar is a better way to say it, because it's not always swearing with Matt Berry.
Yeah.
But like the way that he can twist words that sound so eloquent and so horrible is just amazing. I mean, his I hope he gets nominated or gets to win, just because he needs to be recognized for how well he's doing. But at the same time, whatever Natasha's doing is great. Like, her volatility they give each person, Nandor is kind of an idiot. Like, just they have that, even though he's this great warrior, to give everyone these nuanced things that they get to play with, and everything is just so fucking funny. There's so much of it that is really, really hilarious. I laugh out loud, several times an episode, and you don't always do that. It's not just this kind of a snicker or whatever. You're genuinely laughing out loud at something the principle, but then the storylines all tied together, and I think it culminated with the finale. I mean, that was such a wonderful, meta without being meta. Like, they're hitting you over the head with their message. The Newhart nod, which I know was great. Like, I'm sure not a lot of people got to watch that show.
I do wonder what the memory is, because obviously Newhart was like one of the biggest series finales of all time, one of the biggest shows of all time, but it was also coming up on 40 years ago. How does that age?
Yeah.
And also, it was a series finale referencing a show's series finale from 10 years before that. So It's What We Do in the Shadows was referencing a show from 40 years ago that was itself referencing a show from 50 years ago. What a deep cut. So,
yeah. But still great. And then just, even as it, and again, I guess we're doing spoilers, but this is a show. Go watch it. We're not giving it away any like giant canon from the show. When you thought it was all done, I was kind of like, okay, that's nice. It's fun. It ends its way where you think that Guillermo and Nandor are saying goodbye forever. And then they do the one last little bit where the coffin drops into
turns into the Batcave.
Nandor's Batman lair. Like, it was a great little additional part to say, all right, this show ended it on its own terms with its own last little joke, and that's great.
From a character
it's awesome.
standpoint,
I'll miss it.
Same. I got a couple of things. From a character standpoint, I do love the idea that they didn't break up the band, essentially, which so many series finales are ready to do. Like, everyone goes their separate ways. And you all right? You okay there?
Adjusting.
Sorry. The podcast, I'll probably have to cut that out unless I don't, because the podcast listeners, like the audio only listeners, will never know that I just saw Randy's, like, he did like a rocket kick right to the screen. Yeah. And I was like, oh, is he okay? Yeah. Anyway, so I was caught
That's
off
not what
guard
I
by
did, but yeah, whatever. So
your flexibility has caught me off guard. I'm just impressed. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, I really like that they didn't break up the band, and also like that tease with the ending. I know it's an ending that we won't get anything else, but it really, in my mind, I now want the British mentality of they will do a show, they'll take 6 years off, they'll come back and do a special. They'll take 4 years off, they'll come back and do a special. I would now like to see that. Where are these
that'd be
characters
great if
going to
they
be 4 or 5 years down the road? I'd love to see how that plays out. I don't need another season now because I was actually going to dial back and say part of what I did love about that meta nature of the finale, because I'm with you, where they reference themselves and they reference how things can go on too long and there's natural ending points that sometimes people ignore. I bought into that. I liked this season, but I didn't like this season as much as I liked all the other seasons. I really got quite bored often. Anytime they went to Guillermo's day job, that whole fucking subplot, every time I was like, I'm good. I get it. And it was never funny enough for me outside, I think, the episode where he has to fire Nandor. I really enjoyed that. But that's one episode out of like the 10 where he works there. And part of it could be that, is that Tim or Eric? Is that Tim and Eric? That
Tim
was his
Heidecker,
boss?
yep.
I've talked on the show before. I've never found those guys funny. And listen, he's playing it perfectly straight. He's not doing Tim and Eric bits. There's no reason I couldn't like him here. So it's probably not that. Although mentally, maybe that plays into it. And I'm just like, I loved everything vampire. Everything Frankenstein / Cravenworth / Collins monster. Everything outside of that office, I adored. The problem is half the season is spent in that office. And every time we went to that office, I was just like, okay. Oh, it's a metaphor for how Guillermo's subservient again. And there's a few, okay. And that's me. I get it. If you loved it, you loved it. I just started checking out every time we went to another office. Frankly, the show did have a perfect story ending a year ago with Guillermo had completed his arc. That's the problem. They're joke about it, but he had completed his arc. Whatever they do now is ancillary, which is why I think the special idea could work, because I didn't need 11 full episodes. I could have come back and done a TV movie for the finale, and I think I'd have been just as happy. That's me personally. I know you want to live more in the world of it all, and that's cool, because there are a lot of good areas of that. But debate me. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, no, I don't. As I hear it, I don't know if I disagree with it. I still enjoyed it, but would I have enjoyed it more with more madcap kind of vampire related stuff? I think so, and I mean, some of the more entertaining episodes of the season were, the vampire when, what is it?
Jerry?
The Baroness? Yeah.
Oh, Baron.
Or the Baron. The Baron, right? The Baron that's when that happened, when the Baron is addressing all the other vampires. And then Jerry, Jerry. But
also, great introduction. You think he's going to be more than he is in the season, but that's almost the whole bit with the show, right? Subverting your expectations that way, but in a good way, without pissing you off. Because you can subvert expectations and get angry about it. This one, they have some fun with it. Also, I don't know who that actor is, but he was fantastic. I got to look.
His name's Mike O'Brien. He was a Saturday Night Live writer and then also performer for, I think, a season. Was actually very well revered for his writing, but I guess was just in that spot where he just couldn't crack getting into sketches, and so he left.
He created, I've not watched this show, I've heard nothing but good things about this show. He created AP Bio.
I've also heard really good things about it, yeah.
What's crazy to me is, looking it up, he does not act in that show. He was just the creator and writer. Good on him. That's really impressive.
I think that was more his forte. He was known as being more the writer than kind of, I guess, like Mulaney, kind of, that kind of thing. He was just known for more being that kind of.
He was a featured player from 2013 to 2014 on SNL, but he was a staff writer for 7 seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
He wrote the puppet sketch with Bill Hader and Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
That's one of my all fucking time favorite sketches. That's so good. The man's an all-star. Look at him. Who knew? Who knew?
And I'd have to look it up. I think, too, that he did some digital shorts or that kind of stuff, more of the short film type things that were
On SNL or outside of SNL?
on SNL that I think were
Okay.
really well liked. I could be making that up, but
Okay. It looks like I'm not going to watch them now, but I did a quick Google. I'm seeing a couple, and even one or two that I kind of remember.
yeah,
So something to look at later, possibly. So that's cool.
sure.
But anyway, yes. What We Do in the Shadows wrapped up. I am sad to see it go, but based on my reaction to this final season, maybe it is just the right time. But give me that special 5 years down the line and see how we're feeling.
I think so. Yeah.
The other thing I watched is Wild Left Turn. I had been talking about this movie, I think, for the better part of the month because I had missed it entirely in theaters. I'm not sure what kind of theater run I had. And it just came out for you to watch it on home video. Have you heard of, it's one of those A24 movies, which at this point I think is a high mark of quality. People hear A24 and they think, oh, this is going to be something. They get name actors, put them in character roles. They do really good work. I watch Heretic with Hugh Grant. It is, whoo boy, Randy, I actually thought this whole movie, I thought you would love this because it is top-notch psychological horror thriller.
Oh, okay.
There is very little gore, very little traditional scare. I was on the edge of my it was uncomfortable. I had to pause it at one point because I was running on like an hour and a half of tension. It's just tension. And that tension comes from, there's 4 actors total in the movie. One is a very small part. There's 3. I say there's a couple like an intro, but it's the main movie. There's 3 actors. There's the 2 women who are the Mormon missionaries who come because Hugh Grant's character had signed up to want to learn more about the church. And then there's Hugh Grant. And when I say that this movie, if it's an hour 45 movie, I may be wrong there. I think an hour 30 of this is Hugh Grant just talking. And it's amazing. The tension, the fear, the way he just keeps evolving the situation, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And all he's doing is talking. And I'm just like, oh God, I just want them to get out. And every time he adds a layer to what's going on, I'm just like, oh God, just please, just fucking please. It's really good. All I could think was this. I genuinely thought like this is a Randy movie based on everything we've talked about, what you get into for horror and thrillers and stuff. This legitimately was right up your alley.
I'll have to check it out too. My wife is always trying to push me watching more horror stuff anyway because she likes horror. So this might be a good checks both boxes.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I had any other notes, and it really was just tension. It was like what I did, just like tension.
Looking at the people in it, I see Topher Grace is in it too, but that's about the only other. He's one of the elders, I guess.
That was Topher Grace? Are you fucking kidding? Unrecognizable.
Apparently? Oh, wow, okay.
Topher Grace's Heretic cameo explained, looking at Screen Rant. I gotta look up Topher Grace Heretic. That can't be. Show me a picture. If he's the blonde elder.
Is it Elder Kennedy? Is that?
Oh my goodness. Didn't recognize him at all. Didn't recognize him one fucking bit. He has that. When I say he's the 4th actor then. He is a very, very small part. There's a point where there's like a 2-scene section where somebody logically comes to check on these missionaries who have not reported back to base. And holy shit, I see it now that you're saying it, but he's under a blonde wig. He's wearing glasses. And what that says to me is that every Marvel Comics disguise where somebody puts on a hat and glasses and people laugh and they're like, it's Captain America. You'd notice Captain America. I clearly would not notice Captain America because Topher Grace was in my
That elder
face.
is Eric Foreman. Whoa.
Wow, I had no idea. That blows my mind. So the other thing I would note that I watched, And I almost jumped in when we were talking Penguin, but I didn't want to interrupt that time on this thing. I'll interrupt you so many other times. But I randomly just watched the second season only of The Sopranos again. I had been seeing weird YouTube clips. Somehow, things get forced on you, whatever it is. And the second season is already my favorite season of The Sopranos. And I just thought, fuck it. I didn't want to watch more. I didn't want to watch the first. I just rewatched the second season, which for anyone that's watched the show and needs a reminder, that is the season with Big Pussy and everything that happens with Big Pussy. I couldn't remember if you'd watched it or not. And it's just, the show is continually great after that. It very rarely takes a dip, but in my mind, it was never better than that second season. Just absolutely stellar the way they everything. James Gandolfini, just powerhouse. And by all accounts, I went into like reading stuff and looking at behind the scenes things. By all accounts, just a wonderful human being. And lost too soon. Yeah.
I've heard one of those like generous actors, they say, like everyone's like he's in a world of his own in terms of acting ability, but he will do everything he can to give to the people. You're right. I've never heard a bad word about him. It's just like, that's great to hear that people like that are out in the world.
I saw a really interesting behind the scenes thing with the kids. They were like doing a little interview, and he said he brought them and some of the other smaller supporting actors and people in, and he handed them all checks with at least like $50,000. Or not even checks. He said it was like an envelope of money, like the mafia. And it was, he just went and he went, I have a deal where I'll be getting residuals for this the rest of my life, and I know you won't, so please take this. Wow. And I was just like, there are so many actors who would never do that. They would never do that. That's astounding.
A good dude.
Yeah. And then the other thing, not quite a watched, but I do want to briefly talk a game I've been playing. There was a game, and I thought of this when you talked about whatever that Donald Logue show is that I already forgot about that had one season.
Grounded for Life.
No, the one that was well reviewed on Netflix.
Terriers.
Similar idea, video game of terriers. No, I'm kidding. It was this video game was very highly reviewed, excellent reviews. Critics were like, "This is fantastic." I've played it and I adored it. I played it when it first came out. It's called Midnight Suns from Marvel, and it bombed. It bombed hard, which is a shame because I thought it was astoundingly good. But because it bombed hard, all the DLC, which I never played, that I think was valued at like $60 at one point, I grabbed over the weekend for $20. So I had played the base game years ago, so I've been replaying the base game, and now all this extra added content I never got to play. And what I love about this game is it's not based on the movies, it's based on the comics, but they also make sure you know what's going on. But there's downtime. The best part of this game is the downtime. You'll do a mission, and the combat's fun. It's this turn-based combat system, whatever. It's a good time. After every mission, you go back to this mansion base where you're bunkered down, trying to figure out how to save the world. And as you recruit members to the team, everyone comes back to the base. But you come back at night, and you have hangouts. And it's like, do you want to play cards with Spider-Man? Do you want to go fishing with Wolverine? And the best part about this is because you're trying to build your team for the end of the world battle, the better friends your team is, the better you're going to perform in the battle. So you're trying to balance. And also, you find this out at the end of the game. And now that I'm replaying it, I know whoever you've become the best friends with, the rest of the game, you select your squad every mission. Who do you want to play with?
Yep.
You're auto-forced to be with the 4 people you've become best friends with in the game for the final mission. So whoever you've developed the strongest relationship with are your teammates for the big world-ending battle. So I'm now playing the game with like, oh, I really want Captain America there for that last mission. Those shield attacks, they're amazing. Cap, you want to go mushroom picking with me in the villa? You bet I do. Let's get it. It's fascinating, and I love it. There's also just some other really fun stuff you can do to unlock unlockables, Easter eggs. It's just a fun game, but the heart of it is becoming friends with the roster.
You're wooing.
I'm telling you right now, the fact that they did not include romantic options in this game, and I get they couldn't do it because like Mass Effect, you would do these dates type things, and you would eventually fuck someone. And that's your relationship. Can I tell you right now, I mean this, the sexual tension between me and Dr. Strange, it is off the fucking charts. The fact that I get he has his creed, he has to be the defender of all things mystical. But can I tell you, if this game is programmed just a little differently, this man and I are so close to fucking. I am so close to fucking Doctor Strange. Anyway, Marvel Midnight Suns, you can get the game and all the DLC at this point. At one point, I think like $150 value for like $40. Highly recommended. It's a shame it bombed because I'd love the sequel that they're never going to make.
Yeah.
So
cool.
But with that, speaking of games,
oh boy,
what a transition. I'm a genius. I'm sure you saw it off the top looking at the title, but we're going to transition to our main topic. Randy, are you ready to transition to the main topic? You got anything else?
No, let's do it. I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, Where Are These Guys Friends is proud to bring to you in front of a live studio audience. It's the Game Show Show. We're going to make a game show. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Randy.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Randy. Listen, everybody, settle down. settle down. Settle down. We got
you.
Where was I? Sorry. Anyway, we're going to make a game show. Randy, are you ready to make a game show?
I think so.
By the way, for copyright purposes, I would like to note that I thought of the name The Game Show, and I thought, well, that's perfect. And then I looked up that there was a show called The Game Show, but it was actually a CNN documentary about game shows. Oh, I'm sorry, it was on ABC. It was a documentary miniseries about the history of game shows that, by the way, aired in 2023. I don't remember any of this. Maybe I saw the advertising. That's where I stole the name. But the Game Show is perfect for what we're going to do here. So Randy and I are going to create a game show. There's going to be 3 rounds. We each have prepared an element. It could be a game, a trope, something from any game show that's aired since the 50s. Do you want payola in your 50s game show? Do you want it all to be rigged? I don't know if I'd want that in there, but we can do that. But we're each going to pick an element for each round, which will be 6 total things. If we somehow happen to pick the same thing, we'll come up with a backup. But after we've picked our 6 elements, we are going to craft this game show. We are going to figure out how this game could be played, how we could get people involved, and I have not told you about this idea. My thought is if we come up with something somehow workable that we could do, maybe we bring in our first guest to the show. Not this week, but we play this game in a future week. If we somehow could feasibly, it'd be a YouTube exclusive. I don't think we could do that for the podcast listeners probably, but I think we could make a YouTube exclusive. I could do graphics and shit. We could make this game happen. That said, I'm going to let you start off because I often like to let you start off because if you bomb, I get to pick up the pieces.
That's true.
No, Randy, what's the very first element? Round 1 of our game show. What do you need to have in round 1?
So this was tricky because I have about 10 and I need to make decisions to make them 3.
Oh, that's good. I forgot about a reference I wanted. I should have done it. It would have been really... pretend I didn't do that whole intro. You ready? Ready? Would you like to play a game? It was a Saw reference. You get it? Let's abandon this entire game show idea and instead design torture rooms for one another.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We just have to teach each other a lesson. It'll get deeply personal and deeply uncomfortable. All right, that said, we won't torture each other with Saw rooms, I guess. What's your first choice for this first round?
So I'm going to go to The Price is Right, and I'm going to select the game within the game, Cliffhangers. And the idea here, also known as I always called it the Matterhorn. I think you called it the Yodeler game.
Yeah, it's the Yodeler game.
So, centerpiece of Cliffhangers, there's a stylized mountain slope that goes from 0 to 25, and there's incremental numbers within there. So, and you bid on a number of 2-digit prizes. You get 3 2-digit prizes that you're trying to guess. You guess within that number. So if something is $25, you are guessing how much that is. If you guess 30, The mountain climber will go up 5. The idea is you need to get through 3 prizes without going over 25, because if you get to 25, the mountain climber will fall off the cliff, hence the cliffhangers, and you don't win any of the prizes. And so that is what I'm selecting as my element number 1.
So you had mentioned to me off air that you may be breaking the rules of our game already, and it's our first choice. You had mentioned that you might want to adjust this game for the first round, and I didn't say anything at the time, but I wanted to be like, it's the first choice of the first game. But please tell me, you had mentioned possibly wanted to do something with this. What would you have altered or changed or done? Or
the
whatever?
alteration I would make, you still have to choose the 2 digits you're still going within, but we are, instead of utilizing the mountain climber, one member of the team is strapped to the cliffhanger.
You want teams.
I want to do 2 people in our teams. One person is answering or bidding on the prizes, and the other person is strapped to the Matterhorn and is either going to fall into like a crash pad or something like that if they go over. So there is does that make sense? Where the person
you're doing this like a Double Dare style challenge, where like they're genuinely strapped to, or you're saying somebody's in charge of?
No. So one of the team members is on the cliff and is physically moving up as the prizes are being guessed on and how many points you are on.
So you don't want just the game. You want to take the element and turn it into a physical challenge. So you better fucking get it right, or my partner is going face first off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
Intriguing. So I have not made... Have you made variations to all your games and all your choices?
No, this was just the one that I wanted to add to it because I thought it was fun.
Okay. So I haven't done that, but I don't have a ruling on if this is cool yet or not. Because I like it. I got to think about it, because here's the thing. I had a feeling this was going to happen. Not the game, but I knew we both would pick a Price is Right element. I just knew we would. My Price is Right element that I want in this first round is Plinko. I have to have Plinko in the game.
Okay.
I fucking love Plinko. It's my favorite game of all time. But in my mind, I was going to come up with something that you would get other than money, or something that would benefit the future of the game from where the Plinko tablet would land. Because Plinko, for anyone unaware, is literally just, you have a big pegboard, there's a bunch of values at the bottom, you drop a disc in it, wherever the disc lands, you get that prize. If the disc lands at 500, you get 500. If the disc lands at 100, you get 100. So we would have to have come up with something relevant to our game that is the prize.
Okay.
Do we come up with something that benefits your version of cliffhangers? That you do Plinko first, and it's some kind of mulligan or an added bonus, something to help you, something to hinder you if you get the wrong one.
Yeah, I like that. So
because I'm not putting a real person on a fucking disc and dropping them down a Plinko board. I'm not doing that.
No, but I'm not saying that they're not going to be adequate padding or something for them to fall into. This is not a Saw game. This is an actual game show. So, I
love the idea now that Saw, he doesn't have any actual creative thoughts. He just wants to torture people. So he does just rip off game shows and other games.
Maybe that's Saw 12 or whatever one we're on.
10 was the last one that came. Not
okay, so 11.
A big fan of those movies, but 10 was the last one. Anyway, you were saying.
I like that. So I think your Plinko goes first, but they're more points than cash, right?
Yeah, or some kind of benefit to something either now or throughout the game.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it's like +1, right? So traditionally cliffhangers was 0 to 25. So maybe it's like a +1, +3, +5, +10, -1, -3, -5.
I like that. So the Plinko, you get... So here's the other question I was going to ask. And what is leading up to these games? Or is there any kind of questionnaire, trivia, who gets to play first? What are we doing to set the elements that we're doing?
So I think we need trivia of some sort, right? Just like a quick kind of trivia round to accumulate your Plinko chips.
Yep.
I think, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right. And now are both teams getting to play all these games, or are we fighting for the right to play the games in each round?
I think, well,
See,
I mean,
yeah,
I think it's more fun if they both get to, but
okay.
maybe that's just me.
I think
And
it's just
then
because you want to throw somebody off a fucking cliff. You want to see it twice.
maybe so. So, and that way, I think there's an overall point to the 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
So there is a possibility like that it could be 1-1 at the end of round 1. It could be 1-0. It could be 0-0.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
based on whoever wins. So the Plinko leads into the cliffhangers, and then whoever wins the cliffhangers gets the point.
So here's what I'm thinking. Because this is our show and this is us. There's not the show, this is us. This is us for this show.
Yes.
The trivia, we do a trivia round, and let's say it's 3 questions to keep things moving so that you could try to either sweep all 3, get 1, 2 out of 3, whatever. And they're pop culture questions. There's movies, there's music, there's TV. So there's 3 questions. Each question, if you get it right, gets a Plinko chip. And now here's the deal. Let's say every team gets a Plinko chip regardless, because if they all get all 3 wrong, we got to be able to play.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You could have up to 4, or you could have only 1.
Got it.
So because if we finish trivia and no one has a chip, well, this has been a fun game, everybody. We'll see you later. So
after the break,
3 trivia questions, up to 4 chips. They go to play Plinko, and it's got the pluses and the minuses for the cliffhanger. Then you go to play Cliffhanger. It's Price is Right, but Double Dare style. I'll give it to you. You want it, I'll give it to you. That said, if we do find a way to simulate it, I'm going to have to just do it as a graphic. It'll be the traditional game. Know in your heart that you would have been sending somebody over a cliff. And then whoever comes out... Let's see. So you get the Plinko. So the ultimate winner of the round is whoever came out the best from the cliffhanger game, right?
Yep. But, well, no. I think it's a point system based on if you survive cliffhanger. If the guy if the guy or girl goes over, you don't win.
Okay,
it's
so
much as like the game.
So both teams can take the first round, and it could be tied with nothing going into round 2.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. This is a hell of a game so far. So I got to get back to my notes here. So for round 2, I wanted some kind of interactive gimmick. Do you remember the show? This is not my pick, but do you remember the show 1 versus 100?
Okay.
Was that a yes?
I do very faintly, yes.
So there was an amazing Xbox version of that game back in the day that they lost rights to, where people could vote in on who got to stay, who got to do this. It was really fascinating to do as a video game. So there was this part of me that thought, do I want the viewers to have some sort of say as to what's going to happen here?
Okay.
And I was really hiding on that. And then I thought, no, but I want something to happen at the end of this round where there's some kind of stakes. And so I settled on the call from someone like Deal or No Deal to negotiate something at the end of this round where you could take the prize and continue on. You could take I'm not sure what yet. We'll have to figure that out. All I know is at the end of this round, whatever happens, I want somebody to call and negotiate with whoever's leading for something to happen. There has to be some kind of call. And we can maybe figure that out when I find out what your round 2 element is.
Okay. So, my round 2 element, I'm going to continue with a more physical competition.
Okay.
I want to do Assault from American Gladiators.
Is that the one with the
tennis ball cannon?
Oh, wow, that's not the one. I was thinking of the jousting.
The jousting. No, that is called joust. So,
well, that would do it, wouldn't it?
No, Assault was one of the American Gladiators. Now, the way I would turn it on, it's
for the YouTube and Spotify video viewers, you will see a photo. what I can say for anyone listening audio only, I'm begging you to Google American Gladiators Assault right now. Look at this shit. Anyway, you're saying.
It was always my favorite part of that show. But I think you have one of the team members as the assault. So instead, we don't have American Gladiators unless you want to tell me otherwise and have someone who is better versed at firing the tennis ball cannon. But
no, I like your thought. I like the idea of the team members are doing it.
So it's one team member is shooting and a person from the other team is going on the assault back and forth. So for those
I was going to say, can you explain these rules to me? Because I'm looking at these photos and listening to what you're talking about, and I'm so fucking confused. Just please lay this out for me.
So the idea for assault is you have 60 seconds to run across this. It's not an obstacle course, but you are being shot at by a tennis ball cannon from a from a higher up point, as if someone's in a tower trying to shoot you. Now, if any of these tennis balls hit you, you are out. You don't win the round. But you have a number of different places you can take shelter throughout the entire the kind of floor that's in front of you. And you also have particular weapons that you can shoot back at the person who's shooting the gun. There's a target above that person. If you hit that target, then you win as well. Or if you are able to get all the way through assault and get to the very end of it, which you are basically coming closer and closer to the person that's firing the tennis balls at you. And if you're able to get all the way to the front and to the end of it, you also get the points. So either way, that's how you win assault.
That was a lot. That was a lot. I'm trying to read it to you while you're saying I get it. It's a big physical challenge type thing you get. I get it. It's a lot going on there. Oh my goodness. So
you are avoiding someone who is shooting tennis balls at you and trying to shoot a target that is above them, and you have 60 seconds to do so. If you do not, you don't get the points. That's basically what it is.
Okay, all right. That's simple enough. I think I'm getting that there then. Okay, so now let's craft this. So first round, whoever won, they got points, whatever, from that. We're going to move into round 2. Obviously, the basis of round 2 is now going to be assault. So team 1, team 2. And I'm assuming, and it's just whoever gets the most points out of this, right?
Correct. So, and I was almost thinking this is an all or none, or maybe we have bonuses throughout the assault point. That means, so if you get to a certain point, so there are 6 different quote unquote safe zones that you can kind of hide behind and try to throw something up at.
I figured it out.
All right. I thought you were telling me to wrap it up. But
No. Sorry. I got really excited. I clapped and I moved my hand.
Please, go on.
Your safe are when a call comes in. Do you want to risk continuing, or do you want to take the points that you have now? That's the safe point of assault in this. Is as the round is continuing on, things are getting closer, and you're pushing. There could be some kind of penalty where you would lose your points. And you do a third of the round. All right, hang on. We're talking to whatever we say. Go ahead.
So can I add this, that these people have to do this while they're still being fired upon? Like, I just have this.
I love that.
Maybe. So you've got the other contestant, right? So, because one contestant from each team won't be doing anything else during each of these rounds.
Yeah.
So that person is on the side. They are trying to communicate with the person who's in this field of battle at the safe zone, saying, do you want to double down and go to this? Meanwhile, you hear thunk, thunk, like just that. And it smells firing by there.
It's not just them yelling from the sidelines. They have to be on the phone. So it's like a Bluetooth headset that they're wearing. And they're like getting fired. And they're like, what? I can do it. I don't think you can. Maybe we should stop. Let me focus on this. I like this. So
That's
how
great.
many times does that happen how many times would those points that you're talking about happen within the round? Therefore, would this be like a halfway through they get one call, or is it twice they get the opportunity?
So I believe in the game, there were 6 safe zone stations.
Okay.
So we could do I think
6
2
feels
works.
excessive. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's do
yeah.
it. All right,
I mean, if
2
you want to
call
even do
points.
3, I guess, but
Nah, fuck it. Fuck them. 2 call points. Feels right. And because that'll be 2 call points across the 2 different rounds. So you'll get 4 total between the different people.
So
That's
maybe
a
it's
lot
something
of...
like, so if there's 6 safe zones, maybe it's at 2 and 4
Oh,
or
do you
2 and
have to
5 or
make
something.
it... Do you have to make it to a safe zone to get... No, because you want them to be fired on while they're getting called.
Yes.
I was going to say, do they have to make it to a safe zone to
now when I
call
say
it?
it's a safe zone, that doesn't mean that they're immune to getting hit. It is just almost like a barrier that you can kind of hide behind. Think about it, if you're getting...
I see.
Yeah, it's so you so you're kind of sitting underneath this barrier.
Do you have to make it to one of those to call, or does that defeat the point? Because if you're making it to that call, you probably want to stop. The call has to happen either way.
So maybe it's earlier then. So maybe it's something like first and third safe zone, something like that.
Okay. So you can make it to the first one where people probably would want to stop. And then you could make it to then you
Because
had
you-
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you've gotten points there, right? So you've gotten
Yep.
your 10 points or whatever it is.
Yep.
All right, you made it to the safe zone. You've got 10 points. All right, let's call. And then you have to pick up the phone there in the
Yep.
safe zone. And if we know they're at the first and the third, we know that you have to take the calls at the safe zones. So that's established already. So it's not, it can still be the Bluetooth thing, but that might be a little
What
crazy
is the
to just
point
have out
of
of the
the
blue.
second safe zone then? Just to give them somewhere to try to do something? Like, what is
Points.
the point?
So
Points.
more points, because each safe zone is worth points.
Okay. So, see, this is me still figuring out this fucking game. I didn't remember Assault very well at all. I assumed it was just Joust.
So no, we're adding that because in American Gladiators, it's like an all or none thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
if
we're
you
trying to
reach the
combine-
first safe zone, you get points and you could stop. The second safe zone, you have to keep going. You get more points. The third, you get points and you can take a call to stop. And then you get to the finish and you get even more points if you kept going. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. What is it? Just like 10 points for each stop, and
I
you can
think
get
so,
a total
yeah,
of 40?
and then or maybe a bonus or something for finishing it.
No, you get 50 total. It would be 4 stop points, and if you make it all the way to the finish, you get 50 points. So I like this. This is good. This is good. We're making a game show, Randall. All right, that's cool. So let's recap so far as we head into our third round. Round 1 of the game show. We come out, we do a small trivia challenge of pop culture trivia, movies, music, TV, maybe one question for each. I don't know. So you could then get a Plinko chip from each question answered correctly. You get one regardless. You could have up to 4 chips if you sweep the round. Then you have to go in and drop your chip in the Plinko board where you could get pluses or minuses. What's the center? The center is usually a grand prize. What do you get if you hit the center? I didn't think about that.
Like a trip or something. How about that?
Okay. So you what is the benefit to the Cliffhangers game now? A plus or a minus? I forget. Is there no benefit?
You get the point, right?
Right. Sorry. Refresh me though. If I were to get a +2, is it better than getting a -2 when I go to play Cliffhanger? I forget.
Oh, +2 would add seconds to it. So it's the or add points off of it. So if you are, because you're guessing a prize that's a 2-digit number, and if you want to have more points or more numbers.
So let's
in that
actually say that the dead center then is +5. Then it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. But then to the left is -4, -3, -2.
Sure.
Or -1, -2. It'd be.
Don't they do it like either or though? Because isn't that the idea, or is it better? Okay.
Wait, we're making half of this up, Randy. We can do whatever we want.
Well, then let's do it your way. So everything to the left is bad, and
no, we can do it the other way, where everything to the left is good and everything to the right is bad. I don't really care. I don't.
Okay.
Whatever works for you. All I know is the center gets you +5, and now we can go on from there. So
Perfect.
now there was a missing added detail that we had to go. This is why we recap and review, everybody. It's
Indeed.
what we need to do. So whoever wins that first round, hopefully you got points. Maybe you didn't. Who knows? You could have tanked it. Then you go to round 2, where it's fucking assault. You are being shot at with tennis balls, and you have to make it across this court. There are 3 stopping points. At the first and third stopping point, you get a call. Do you want to stop with the points that you have now, or do you want to keep going and try to get more points? That's how we work in the dealer node. At the end, if you make it all the way across, you get 50 points. So by the end of this, you could have, how many points are we getting total for? Because the trivia doesn't give you points. That's just chips. You could have no points. What's the mass amount of points you could get for cliffhangers?
So I was more envisioning it as a round by round thing. So
okay, so it's not a total winner overall. How are you going to win the game overall? You won round 1, you run round 2. That's all
correct.
that matters. Okay.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Then that's all that matters.
Because when you say 3 rounds, do you mean the third round is the final, or do you mean 3 rounds and then we have a final?
I meant 3 rounds is the final. That's 2 out of 3. Unless you were thinking we need a final.
Well, let's see where we go. Let's see where we end up.
Okay. So here's the thing is I actually don't want my original pick. I have to think of something new. Because of what you have chosen, I don't like my third pick. It feels derivative. It doesn't feel as... It feels like more of the same at this point.
Okay.
So I'm going to think on it. I want you to do your third round pick, and then while I think on this.
I'm going to go to the big board, and we're going to press our luck.
Oh, shit. All right. Talk it through.
So we may have to rethink then what the points are worth, because how do you get... Maybe we have to do...
Talk me through the rules for pressing the big board and press your luck, though. I need to remember what
So press your luck, sure. Yes, that's a good point. Yes, if people don't know it. The press your luck is you answer a series of trivia questions that will give you spins on the big board. The big board is a series of prizes and cash, and then the whammy, which will wipe you out completely. Takes all your money away.
Yeah.
You have to go through, when you accumulate spins, you can pass the spins away. You get to a certain point, and then if you pass spins because you want to see if someone will get a whammy and then completely zero out, once you pass some spins to someone else, they have to take those spins. But the spins that you win, you're able to do whatever you want with. So you can either spin it or you can pass it to somebody else. The strategy you try to be behind, if you have accumulated amount of prizes and cash, you want to try and keep that. You think someone else will hit the whammy.
Okay. I like that. That's good. And it gives you your classic, like we haven't talked a lot about the nature of a lot of game shows, but to have that big gimmick, right? That big flashy thing, spin the wheel, even, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? There was a lot of production value in that, of the lights, the flashing, the set. It's good because I don't think with what we've done, even with Assault, we haven't had our big set piece,
So I'm wondering,
the whammy board is a set piece.
Maybe each round needs to be like a cash value or something like that. And since these aren't necessarily 3 tied together.
So we do keep the points. We do set a point value to the first one, and the points do carry over to the third.
But I don't know if they would tie into and it would depend on, I guess, what you pick here, how we maneuver through it, because if we're just going to essentially redo what the big board's doing with Pressure Luck, aren't we just doing trivia for the spins, or are the points worth spins?
No,
and maybe that's what it is.
You're right. So my initial pick, and I worry that it's not a great option after doing Assault. You tell me if I'm wrong. I wanted the obstacle course from Double Dare to be my final element, just to make people run through the guck and the muck and the things. But I feel like Assault does that, right? Like I don't need the Double Dare obstacle course now after the insanity of the second round. It feels, but then my backup option, the other thing I would love is I would love to play the feud. Top 5 guesses, top 5 here. And I also think it would work for if it was a show by us. We do need more pop culture mentions. Not to say we can't just create whatever game show, but if we're creating a game show hosted by us, we would have more movies, music, TVs, things like that. And could those be we're quizzing on who was, the biggest actor of the 1980s, who was, and it's not just the actual answer. It's we polled whoever people. Do they think this? Do they think
right? Okay.
But I don't know how either one of my options works with your option.
So I think that if you are able to, I think we can put it together. This could be a longer game show. We don't have a time constraint.
In my mind, it's an hour. We need this shit done in an hour.
Yep.
I think the first 2 rounds can be easily done in a half hour.
Yep.
That's the first 20 to 25 minutes with a commercial break or 2.
So
the last half of the show is this massive last.
So how about the feud? The payoff.
And we are going feud over Double Dare. Just that's better for you in your mind.
I like the Double Dare one, but
is it too much physical, or do we do your mental trivia leading into the physical, or vice versa? Do you have to do the physical and come off and answer questions?
So here's my thing though: is like, what if you did? So we do the big board, but the big board is time. Okay.
Okay.
And I need
to watch a big board. I need to. What would help me right now? And listeners, viewers, we're going to take a time out. We're going to stop for a minute. We'll come back in a second. I need to watch one of these rounds and remember what the fuck is going on. And then we're going to come back to this. And we're back. And I think we cracked it. I just watched a round from the 80s of Press Your Luck. And I did remember it once I was watching it. I was just like, it had been so long. And you were astounded. You were like, I watch the show all the time.
That was my jam back in the day, man.
I could not remember it, but I remember it now. I've seen it. And as soon as we were watching, it struck me. We will do the Double Dare obstacle course. And as the thing is going around the whammy, when you're going to hit stop and press your luck, it's going to be the obstacle you have to run for the Double Dare obstacle course. Each team member will press their luck and press the button. And that will make a 4 obstacle course. And Randy, you had a great idea. I asked, what happens if you get a whammy? What happens if you whammy it? There has to be a consequence. Hit me.
So the whammy essentially eliminates the person from competing. So there are 4 obstacles in the Double Dare style. So the 2 teammates, one will each run the first. So one will run the first 2, hand off to the other teammate to do the next 2. And if someone hits a whammy, they are eliminated from competition, and one person has to do all 4 obstacles. I guess the question then is, what do we do if someone has two team members get whammies?
I think that if the first team member gets a whammy, and also you have to think that you still need 4 obstacles. So if the first team member gets a whammy, they are eliminated, but they are still asked to hit it again, and they run. And then I look at it as Price is Right. You know when someone doesn't get the wheel all the way around, they have to spin again?
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things where we just accept that if you get a whammy as team 2, hit it again. You're on your own. Tough shit. It's not going to be them running. It's going to be you running. So that's the way it looks at. I think that's...
I like it.
It's you didn't get the wheel all the way around, so you just have to accept it. So just for my edification, I do have a follow-up question I want to ask you about the points and the way this rule could work out, the way this round could work out. I do want to list things that would be on the whammy board. The Double Dare obstacles. You have, I think, one of the most famous images, the 1-ton human hamster wheel, where they have to run, on the red wheel. You have the bathtub, which was the oversized bathtub filled with plastic balls or foam blocks. And remember, you have to, at all these obstacles, you have to finish them, get a flag, so that you can then hand off. In my mind, you have to have 2 flags, and you have to hand off the 2 flags to your partner. If you're by yourself, you're grabbing all 4 flags. You have Big Bowl, where it's just a giant bowling ball that you have to knock down pins to get to the flag. Then, I remember this one clearly, the Big Cheese, where it was this massive, gunky, like Limburger fake cheese. But it was also like Swiss. You had to dive through the holes and look through the gunk to find the flag. You had the Big Gulp, which was, do you remember it was the one with the tongue that looked like the Double Dare logo? Where you had to slide down the mouth of the tongue and get all the gunk out and find the flag.
Wasn't there an Ice Cream Sunday one too?
Yes, and most of these are just dive into something in the gunk so that you're falling down when you try to run. Most of these are you're getting gross and running, and the obstacle is really that you can't stand up and you can't run because you're going to fall down to make it to the next thing. Because, and of course there is a time limit on these. So, do you remember the time limit for the Double Dare obstacle course?
I thought it was a minute, but...
Is it only a minute? My goodness.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be
like
nice.
7 obstacles, I think, too, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right, well, we'll keep it at a minute then. I was going to be nice and give people 90 seconds because that feels excessive. Or that
I
feels
guess
short.
the other thing, if we wanted to, we could spruce throughout on the big board. We could put extra time in there too. So
So,
now,
but then would it only be... Oh, but then you get to spin again if you get
yeah,
the time.
exactly.
It wouldn't be only do it. Oh, you got an extra 10 seconds. And that would help because I don't think there's enough obstacles to lay out that entire board unless there's
Yep.
duplicates. So it can be time, it can be obstacles, it can be the whammy.
Yep.
I like this. I like what we're doing here. This is good. We got this. Now, the thing we had to dial back to. How the final, obviously, the whammy board sets up the course. What do you win from the course? Is it a general points thing? Is there partial points for completing a partial course? Or is it you do it or you don't, and whatever points you have tied in with the other 2 rounds is your overall winner?
So I think we reevaluate now.
Or is it
how
a best 2 out of 3 rounds? I forget. I forgot what we decided.
I think we reevaluate the end of round reward. And I think it almost is like, okay, you get whatever it is. You get $1,000 for winning the first one. You get
Okay.
$2,500 for winning the second one. And then the big prize is this overall one. And I think we just do it as a time-based thing. So if both teams complete the Double Dare obstacle course, whoever did the fastest wins the big prize. Or if, I guess, and if both don't, I guess you just don't, right? Like that's happened before. People don't win the final thing.
Right. So is there, and then that comes down to the points from the first 2 rounds to determine who wins then, right?
Well, I think if we're just going to do, you got the money for winning the round from the past, right?
Oh, so so it's still best 2 out of 3. So what happens if, I still want an overall winner. What happens if somebody wins the first round, somebody else wins the second round, and they both tank the third round? What do we do?
Well, then it's that's why I'm saying we give the cash for winning the round as opposed to making it best 2 out of 3.
Okay, so whoever has the, that's what I said the first time, and I thought you said no. Whoever has the most money from the first 2 rounds, if they take this round, they win.
Right. But I think it's just, it's a matter of whoever wins the third round just wins the big prize.
Right. But that's what I mean. Like, who's the overall winner? Is it the money? There needs to be an overall winner.
Yeah, the money.
Okay. So what is the prize for the third round? It's
got
to be high
amount of money. Yeah.
Right. But it's got to be high enough to, if you only won the third round, not make you the complete winner. You have to have done something. Or is it if you only won the third round? Basically, if you only win the third round and you win the whole game, what's the point of the other 2 games?
Because there's just money behind it. So you win more money.
I don't like this. I want a definitive winner. I want there to be stakes. I don't want this to be fucking Quidditch. Oh, I got the golden stick. We just played a 2-hour game. I'm fucking dead inside. We just played a 2-hour game, but that asshole in the glasses caught the ball, so the game's over. I don't like that.
All right. Well, then I don't know. Pitch me.
Yeah. So, okay.
Figure out.
We will. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what you're saying, and I'm realizing you're saying that the third round is the only really the one that matters. And I'm not here for that.
It's okay.
I can't, as Hall & Oates once said,
how do we make
that.
Yes, no can do.
No.
So how do we make rounds 1 and 2 matter then? Is it?
I think it all comes down to the point totals the cash totals you were assigning to each round. So it comes down to what you had said, $1,000 for the first round, $2,000 for the second round. So if you win the third round, basically, I guess my question is, do we have to do like a Final Jeopardy after all? Because you could win the first 2 and have 3,000, win the third round and have 3,000, and you could either be the outright winner or there's the tiebreaker round. And often it could come down to the tiebreaker round. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does.
So in the midst of this, when we were discussing the big board, because we got the physical challenge, right? So, or the Double Dare obstacle. So I was thinking about when we were briefly discussing Family Feud, but maybe is fast money our final thing?
Oh, that's just the quick burn, take a thing, do a thing, right?
Fast Money's the end of Family Feud.
Yo, okay. That is the quiz. I always just called that the quiz part, playing the feud. So let's play the feud. Okay. You clearly, I know all these games, I'm really impressed with your knowing of terminology. Great job.
I watched a lot more game shows than you apparently.
But you, I don't think you did. I guess I didn't absorb
quiz?
It properly. Yeah. It's just it's the fucking final. No, I thought it was just called the final feud.
I always saw it as Fast Money, but
hang on, fuckers. Now this is me Googling and doing awkward, low speaking anger. This could be the Family Feud playing. Okay, no, you're absolutely right. The winning team from the main games played Fast Money. What did I think that was? All right. Anyway, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I don't know who I am as a man anymore.
So, I mean, I kind of like the point of like these gunk covered people that then have to go do Fast Money. I kind of like that.
Okay. All right.
Like immediately they go do that.
But it only happens if it's a tie. So that's the penalty for not winning the game outright. Is you have to do, it could be $1,000 first round, $2,000 second round, $3,000 third round.
Okay.
You could have won outright. If you didn't win outright, you got to play Fast Money covered in all your gunk. The game's
because no matter what, that means the third round means something. I like that.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you could, hey, team 2, you've lost the first 2 rounds, but you're not out of this yet. If you win the third round, you get a chance at Fast Money, and you could still win this entire thing.
Okay. Yeah. And
so
then whoever wins it, based on the big winner, wins a bigger prize. Is that how we're going to do that?
Yeah. We'll add on just another $1,000 if you win Fast Money.
Okay.
So that you get 3, 6.
No. I mean, say if you win, like say you swept it. Say you won, the team won all 3 episodes. So you have $6,000 that you won. But then for winning the overall game, do you win?
You get a total of $10,000. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
$10,000.
Cool.
You won all 3 rounds, and then because you got that, you get your forward bonus. That means you are leaving today with $10,000. I recommend paying your taxes immediately. Do not deal with this later. That will be just so much. That will be just so much to deal with later. Pay your taxes on it. Take the taxes out now. Take the taxes. That's our control and pay your pets at the end. As at the end of every game, they're like, ladies and gentlemen, and remind you, pay your taxes now. If you were on this game, pay your taxes now.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody. So let's recap. I think we got this. I think we got the full game here. I'm proud of us. We made this happen. And can I tell you, I know there's a lot of physical challenges, but a lot of our physical challenges exist in old NES games from the 80s. Yeah. So if I can find emulators, find emulators of these games, we could bring people on, make them play the NES emulation version of Assault and the Double Dare Obstacle Course, and then do the rest. I'm in on this. This could happen. Yeah. I'm going to think this through. This is not a guarantee, but I'm thinking this through.
Yep.
So anyway, let's talk through the game. Round 1, we start with a small trivia challenge. 3 questions. If you get a question right, you get an extra Plinko chip to drop in the big Plinko board. On the Plinko board are pluses and minuses that affect your time when playing, I keep calling it the Yodeler, but it's cliffhangers. So round 1 is 2 Price is Right games. We are ripping them off, but we're easing people into game show territory. Mm-hmm. You get your little classic trivia, you get your Plinko, you get your cliffhangers. We're having fun here. There's no one being hurt until you get to round 2. By the way, if you win round 1, you get $1,000. Isn't that exciting?
Good on you.
You go to round 2, where we're playing Assault from American Gladiators. Whoever gets the most points out of Assault wins the second round, which is $2,000. But there could be things happening because while you're playing Assault and you're just being fucking pelted with tennis balls and you're trying to run across this course, there's going to be points where you could say mercy. You're going to get a call from your teammate and go, I think you should stop. Take the points we have. You are not going to make it. You are not going to make it. You are being pelted. You're not making it.
And you're also
across.
banking on the fact you don't think the other person is going to make it at that point. That's what you're gambling against.
I've seen this guy. He is out of shape. He is not good. There's a time limit to make it across the course, I assume?
60 seconds, yeah.
60 seconds. We didn't say
that. Well, I mean, I would say maybe...
With the calls, we pause the clock on the call. No, we can't pause the clock on the calls.
Maybe we go longer then because the calls are in it. Maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes because of the calls.
Yep.
So 2 minutes to make it across the course. With the calls, you have to get through. You could stop one time the first call and take 10 points. If you make it through the second, you have to get through the third. At the third call, you could stop, and if you make it all the way in, you get a total of 50 points. So for that, and that gets you $2,000. So then we get to the third round where you have to play whammy, or not. We play press your luck. I say whammy. This is why I don't know these. I call them the things I know them. You're playing whammy and yodeling. Whammy, yodeling.
Mm-hmm.
So you play press your luck. Each team member, that's 4 people, is going to spin the thing and try to press their luck. They're going to stop, and they're going to get obstacles for the double dare obstacle course for a total of 4 obstacles. If one of your team members gets a whammy, they're eliminated, and you then have to run that entire course by yourself. No handoff. It's all on you, you gunky bastard. So that would be 3,000 points if you win that round, which means if somebody won the first 2 and a different team won the third, you're tied at 3,000. At which point you then have to play Fast Money from Family Feud. And you do, your little trivia thing. One team goes, the other team goes, and whoever wins that gets the full amount at the end. Somebody has to win, right? There can't be a tie, right? I don't mean like physically, there wouldn't be a tie unless they all get 0.
Yeah, or, I mean, because it's Fast Money is we surveyed 100 people on these 5 questions, right? So,
right.
I mean,
there's a chance both teams,
insanity, they both got 119 total out of the 5 questions, then you have some sort of weird tiebreaker. But they have those on all game shows, right?
That, we'll cross that when we get there. But I say in that case, we have got this. We have got our game show. The real question, Randy, now that we have this game show, this insanity across 3 rounds, trivia, physical challenges, negotiations. What the fuck are we going to call this thing? Is it just the game show? Because we can come up with something better.
Who's going to host it? That's the other thing.
Oh, we're hosting it.
Oh,
it's us. We're hosting.
Oh, right.
You
right.
fool.
I should look at my own video display, yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. If you're watching a YouTube or Spotify video, I personally feel I've outdone myself. I enjoy our set. We have our little nameplates, our shows, our thing. My goodness. We're hosting this fucking show. We'll come up with the title later.
What a mess or something.
Or is it just the Weight of These Guys' Friends show? Because by the end of it, you might not be friends with the person you're playing with.
Ooh. There won't be something there.
Yeah, that's good. I like this. We're ready. I'm legitimately going to spend some time and see if I can come up with a way to play this game.
Oh, wow.
On the video. It would be a YouTube exclusive, I think. It'd be too tough to do for the audio listeners. Yeah, I don't know how anyone would get anything out of it audio only. But
just us laughing at somebody face planting. So,
any final thoughts on game shows, our game show, anything else you want to say?
I'm curious. What do you have your list there? I'm curious what didn't make it. Because I wanted to dive in on some of the fun
My
ones
main backup was Fast Money that we wound up doing.
Okay.
Anyway, that was going to be my backup to Double Dare. We wound up doing it anyway. I desperately was trying to figure out a way to work Supermarket Sweep in because I think it's what started all of our game show talk months ago anyway. Yeah. I was just like, how do we get somebody... I'm glad you did cliffhangers because I was really trying to figure out a way to work in a pricing game. And you did. And it didn't have to be Price is Right. I wanted something like...
Yep.
I liked Supermarket Sweep because it was the pricing and the physical challenge, and it kind of combined them. But with everything we have going on, it was too much. I was really trying to figure out... I think I texted you, and I don't know if you responded. Do you remember the show What Would You Do? The other show hosted by Mark Summers?
Vaguely, yes.
So it might not be. I was trying to determine if that was actually technically a game show or if it was a talent show where they threw pies at people. And I was debating on if it counted because there is I think it was it the Pie-O-Matic, the pie chair? I got to look up. I'll put a picture of it here once I get the pie. The Pie Pod. It was the Pie Pod. I really was trying to figure out a way to work in the Pie Pod, but I didn't know if it technically counted as a game show thing or not, because all the Pie Pod is at the end of the show, they would stick somebody in a chair, and depending on what had happened during the show was how many pies they got hit in the face with. And it was all on this like auto-loaded thing. It wasn't people throwing. And the audience would count down, and it's like, all right, because of what happened, you're getting the full force, 5 pies to the face. And it would just be these shitty cream pies, and the arms would just reach back and then just go 3, 2, boom! And everybody gets smacked in the face with the pie. And I just really, really wanted to figure out if I could include the Pie Pod, and I couldn't get there logically. And I also don't know if it technically counted as a game show element.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the last thing I had. What about you? What was on your
And in a similar vein, I don't know if it would have worked because I think it's the same kind of idea. I was trying to get the gong from the Gong Show in there somewhere, but I think it's kind of a similar idea. I'm still, I don't know how we make this work, but I was trying to think of our commercial breaks. Maybe we go like $2 commercial or it's sponsored by, and we just do cash cab during the commercial breaks.
Randy, it's too much. I love it, but it's too much.
I don't know how we
commercial break. We need to take a break. We're giving the sponsors their full due.
All right,
if you really wanted to do something, you could do one of those just for the audience things, where before we go to break, there's like they pop up a trivia question so that you can keep the viewers, glued in. What's this? We'll tell you. We come back.
We'll
play Double Dare and Assault. That's a thought. We could go to commercial on a trivia to keep people hooked in, and that would also just keep our theme of a little more pop culture, keeping people engaged, stuff like that.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, the other 2 choices I had weren't as much pop culture, but just were so much fun that I remembered, but we couldn't kind of work them in. Do you remember the final part of Where in the World is Carmen from Sandiego?
Where you run around the map. I love that.
Yeah.
It was great. And also, we don't need to do the pop culture. I kind of developed that more as we found the spots for it as we were making the show. I loved the map. Carmen Sandiego, I loved that show. That was so fucking great. Running that, what were the odds? I feel like kids failed that more than they pulled that off. Am I wrong to think that?
they never got it.
Yeah.
Well, and as I did a little more looking into it, the other part of it, for the way they were shooting it, from camera perspective, the kids were trying to do this thing upside down too.
You're right.
From their
goodness.
Like you're looking at an upside down map. So these are 11-year-olds that, I mean, I don't know how great they are in world geography anyway, and they're trying to put down, and it was like 7 of them you had to put down. It was crazy, but
that's right. And it wasn't always the same map, right? It was different. So I did a quick Google to see like what the success rate was, and I can't necessarily find one except for the first like 5 listings on search that came up was, did anyone ever win the Africa map? What, like, I've seen people winning. I don't remember anyone winning the Africa map. There's like a ton of people.
Oh, that's right. It was it was different continents, right?
There were so many, and you
were like cruising if you were in North America or whatever, because
which might be the only time somebody won.
Yeah, I only saw somebody won like once or twice. It wasn't often.
But anyway, continue on. What else did you have?
And then the last one I had was a very similar final thing, was the Legends of the Hidden Temple, just because that was great.
I didn't mention that. I was so close to including a temple guard somehow. I could not figure out, was it a temple guard you would have included or something else?
No, the final one, the run through to the temple.
The whole run through. I was trying to figure out to just work in a temple guard.
Bring in Olmec?
Yeah, like not even like one of those guys that would come grab you for some reason.
Oh, gotcha.
Thing. I just wanted something to be happening. Like there's a trivia question where it's like, and what is the capital of North Dakota? And they get it wrong. And a temple guard just comes out and fucking bum rushes you. I could not figure out a way to work that in and have the rest of the rounds go on. I really would have liked to have seen that stuff. But I think that's about it for that.
I think it's good. If I could persuade you on the bonus as we go off the air, like not from here, but from our show, can Rockapella do like
are they still around? Or do we how much money do we have to get up to bring them back?
I don't know. It's last time I saw him. I think Jimmy Fallon had him on like 6 or 7 years ago. But
Nice. Oh, hang on. Yes, they are still around. Rockapella. Do it, Rockapella. And don't worry, I'd let you say it every time. I'd let you say it every time.
and you gotta look up into the camera. The camera was over top of him, and you pointed
right.
up at it.
You want to listen? Just give me one right now while I look up some trivia. Let's pretend to see another show. Thank you, everybody.
Oops.
And I think we have a little something to end the day.
Do it, Rockapella.
Oh, where do these guys friends? Game show. Oh yeah, this is good. Looking up, let's see, post Carmen Sandiego years.
How did you do it? You go.
Most of the founding members,
friends?
starring Mike and Randy. There are no founding members left of Rockapella.
Oh, well.
There are, however, 2 people left who were there for Carmen Sandiego.
Okay.
So of the 5 members, 2 of them were still there during Carmen Sandiego.
This is very much that Simpsons episode where the gun smoke. And it was like the one guy that played.
Yes. It was, I believe it was Bonanza.
Oh, Bonanza. Sorry, yes.
It also made me think of, hey, everybody, do you like the Doobie Brothers? Because we got one of them. Man, crazy. But sure, why not? Let's
do
find
it,
whatever.
some of Rockapella.
With that, do you have anything else on game shows? You want to hit the plugs and get the hell out of here?
I think we've done all the damage we could do.
Fantastic. All right, so let's wrap this up and get out of here. Normal social media plugs. Let's see. This is coming out on January 2nd. When does TikTok get shut down? January 19th? Is that so? For about 2.5 more weeks, you can look up the Way to These Guys Friends TikTok account. You can find me, that's Mike Barcode, MikeBarcode, on TikTok and Instagram. And there's a Way to These Guys Friends Instagram page. I've been uploading short 90-second, 2-minute clips of the show, the video version, if you want to check that out. If you're a audio-only person and you're intrigued and you don't want to watch a full show, check out one of our social media pages. That said, if you have a real issue with the show and you're just really pissed at Randy, likely, wouldn't that be the case, Randy?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I garner most of the vitriol.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me. You can email us at waytotheseguysfriends@gmail.com. And I realize I haven't checked that email in 2 weeks. There's probably nothing there, but now I hope there is something there. So that would be really exciting. Leave us those 5-star reviews, like and subscribe anywhere you can. Anything positive helps us. You know, we're an algorithm-based culture these days, people, and we need your help. That's what it comes down to. Also, big announcement. I got to look it up here and make sure I get the address right. Randy doesn't even know this. This is very cool.
This is, it's springing it on me.
We have launched a merch store. If you're genuinely a fan of the show, and you really want to rock a logo, wait, are these guys friends shop.fourthwall.com. There will be a link in the description for the show, wherever you're looking.
Very nice.
It'll be in the link tree, whatever it is. We have got a little logo tee. We have got a big logo tee. We've got a mug. We've got a hoodie. And we've got a little baby t-shirt. Literally, not like a small person. We have a t-shirt for a baby. If you would like a baby,
like Baby Chef, or
yeah, if you want Baby Chef to be rocking away to these guys' French, you can upload. I haven't done this. You can upload custom photos as your merchandise display photos. I'm gonna dig out the doll we did the Baby Chef video with, and the song that no one liked except for us. And I'm gonna make that the baby tea version.
Oh boy!
But
nice.
and I'll, for the YouTube, Spotify people, there will be a picture of that right now. I'll have it up for the edit. It'll be great. Very exciting stuff. But if you like the show enough for some reason, if you want to spend $20 on a t-shirt with the name of the show on it, don't worry, our faces aren't on it. It's just the name of the show. Don't you worry. You could make that happen right now. But with that, I'll say thank you as always for everything. I hope you enjoyed today. It was a different one, but I had a great time. And Randy, you want to get us out of here?
Very cool, for sure. Yeah, thanks for listening, and goodbye, everybody.